This podcast is brought to you by our amazing supporters at Patreon. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to find out how you can get a lot more of this show that you like. That's right, more than 25 bonus episodes delivered right to your phone in your favorite podcast app, no matter what that app is. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to find out how you can get all of that for just $5 a month and support the show. Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am Trip Lano, one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers, and with me, as always, a man who's gotten out of many a jam with the help of tequila, the Macho Man.
Andrew Lano, and even more jams because of tequila.
Nice. Sorry for the missed episode last week, folks. The holidays got away from us, so we've got this one here for you as our second episode in January, and then we'll roll right into Favorites-buary, of course, next month. But I do want to make an announcement here on the main feed. Our Patreon folks heard about this on the Christmas Mentary, but I am having a kid, and so we are going to have some paternity leave in the schedule. So the plan right now, baby's supposed to come at end of March, which means we're planning to be off April and May here on the main feed. We'll have some archive episodes, and also we're going to unlock one of our Patreon episodes for y'all to enjoy, so you can get a little taste of what's behind the paywall and see if you want to join us there. For folks on the Patreon, we will post our April episode as scheduled, and definitely our June one. We're going to play this by ear. It's possible the baby comes early, and we'll just announce something on socials that our hiatus is starting a little early. So plan is to do episodes until we can't anymore when there's a baby and I'm not going to have time or brain cells to record podcasts. So we will try to keep you all posted on social media as that is going on. So keep their eyes over there, and we'll try to keep you all abreast of the situation. All of that said, we watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your big butt. Sometimes it's your big butt.
When the mega powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott!
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah!
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Forgot to say in the little intro there, 40th anniversary for this movie this year, which is why we're doing this. I'm curious how you're going to feel about this. I hope this doesn't cause a kerfuffle. But I was thinking about this while I was watching this movie, and I think that I have more general goodwill toward Pee-wee than a love for any specific Pee-wee property. And as I was thinking about it, I think this is how I feel about the Muppets.
Interesting. I mean, Pee-wee is very Muppets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a very...
It's a Muppet movie without Muppets.
Yes, yes. Which makes me think, like, is there an interesting Tim Burton Muppet movie that got made in the 90s? Like, would that have been a interesting combination of two things? Or is that like cinnamon and garlic powder?
Oh, I think it's more that by the 90s he had really just lasered in on knockoff German expressionism.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, all right, fine.
Until
I was thinking like Tim Burton has the ultimate creative power, can make whatever he wants. I'm making a Muppet movie. I'm thinking like post Edward Scissorhands.
In that era, I would allow it. There's still some color.
Yeah, like this era Burton, I think would be a very interesting Muppet movie. Yeah. Yeah, he's an interesting filmmaker to me because I really didn't like him for a long time, and now I have come a little bit around on Tim Burton because he's one of the last remaining guys who has an aesthetic and gets to ply it. Now, he's made very few good movies in the last 20 years.
Yep.
But the Beetlejuice, which we touched on, I think on the comment
was fine.
Patreon a little bit. I think it is aggressively fine, but I think my problems with it were more script, but from a directing standpoint and production design and all that stuff, I was like, oh, this is the old stuff. Yeah. He's got the swing, baby. He's back in the rhythm. He knows what's going on. It seems like all of this stuff has come in a way that's very satisfying. And so I was just like, oh man, this is really interesting. And I later found out that apparently Keaton, as part of his demands is the wrong word, but like as part of him agreeing to do it,
Stipulations.
he was like, yeah, it was like, it's got to be practical. We got to do like real special effects, like costumes, like no, like very as little digital as we can get away with. And I think that really stands out in the second.
Oh, for sure.
That like it feels like a real thing and all that. There's a plot line. Like the problem with that movie is like there's just too many ingredients in the stew, and it's just like if you just cut Justin Theroux out of that movie, it's better. If you just
he did not have to be there.
he's completely extracted. It's like why is there carrot, potato, parsnip, and rutabaga in here? Like this is too many root vegetables. Get it out of here. We don't need all of these, Tim.
Yeah,
like, too many. And it that to me feels like a guy who's not playing with maximum confidence because I don't think a young Tim Burton is like, we have to have an extra additional plot that doesn't make a lot of sense to anybody. Okay, goodbye. Like we don't need that. We didn't need that ingredient in the particular stew. I honestly think if you just cut Justin Theroux out of that movie entirely, it's like significant.
Oh, I agree for sure. Because Beetlejuice.
We don't have to have a whole Beetlejuice.
He wants to. Beetlejuice wants to marry Lydia anyway. Like we don't. She doesn't. I didn't need another guy to try and marry her. Like
right. It's like we know you're gonna do some of the beats from the first one, but like marrying Lydia. But like that is a funny thing too. That like the premise of it, like why Beetlejuice comes back is like, oh, I could marry Lydia again, and it's like, well, wait, is that like your thing? Like, is your thing marrying Lydia Deetz? I thought you just did that because you wanted to be in the corporate.
She was nearby and was able to do it.
Means to unend, and so it's just like, yeah, I don't, whatever. But I did enjoy. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. Anyway, that's our capsule review of Beetlejuice. I do want to talk about PeeWee because I feel like I have a lot to talk about this movie. So let's just roll into this. I feel like this was an Andrew movie.
I think it was, but it was also more of like a mom movie.
Fair, mom did kind of like this one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is definitely one that was like around and on and stuff. And I just recently made a large Marge joke to my wife who was like, huh? And I was like, right. Yeah, of course. Never mind. Like it just, too many layers to try to get to.
I mean, you could just show her that scene.
Yeah, no, I was like, you should watch this movie. It's like interesting. I think you might enjoy watching it. And then I watched it and I was like, I think I made the right choice watching this by myself.
Well, it is so aggressively a sketch movie that you could just show her the large Marge sequence and she's not missing anything.
No, yeah. You hit the nail on the head. That was my other big observation with this. But my two big takeaways here. One, this movie has a lot more in common with Elf than I recalled.
Okay.
In that the main character is of an indiscriminate age that doesn't really make sense, and they play him up or down depending on the situation, which is like my big beef with Elf.
He's an adult.
Be a romance. So is PeeWee, but like he's also a child.
PeeWee's different. Like Elf, we know he is an adult because we see him as a baby, and then it's like that's him now. 30 years later,
PeeWee might have sprung fully formed.
Like I think there's a body horror where a small PeeWee stop motions his way out of a C-section.
I was thinking like it's a PeeWee, and he's like, ah! And it's just full 5 foot whatever. Paul Reubens standing there like in the suit.
Oh, okay. I mean that's fun too.
Yucky. Yeah, not yucky, but wet. Like he's soaked.
Yeah,
like he looks like he was in a pool, and he's like, "Hey, thanks, Mom," and then he like runs away.
Yeah. I mean, those are the two options you can get with a PeeWee origin story.
Because like PeeWee doesn't make sense as a romantic partner, and Tommy Pickles is like very much wanting to get the PeeWee D, and I'm like, lady, this is a child.
I think my kind of headcanon is that PeeWee and Dottie and Francis are children characters being played by adults.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Like if you kind of, put on magic goggles and click them to Little Rascals, and it's one of the this movie's about one of the little rascals going on a crazy adventure. Like,
yep, exactly.
It's the same movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Because no one else tries to get romantic with PeeWee, really. Like,
no, there's a moment where you think another character is, but it's not. It's just like a friendship of the moment.
Simone.
Simone, yeah. Let's roll into it and we can talk more about this stuff as we go, unless I'm cutting you off from the rest of your point there. So we start with the dream sequence. It's the Tour de France.
We start with a shockingly boring opening credits sequence.
It's
like,
true. It's
great music.
Boring.
Danny Elfman's doing like amazing work here.
Sure.
And I was like, it's just black screen and white text. Like,
yeah.
You can't like just even if it's just like slow panning shots across all the craziness that's in his house. Like,
I honestly, what it should be is like. It doesn't make. They don't do this because they have him get dressed in the movie. But wouldn't it be funny if it was like Pee-wee slowly getting dressed like a James Bond movie?
I love that. I think that ties in well
like
at the end too.
Like if you're imagining like Daniel Craig like putting on the jacket, putting a gun in a holster, doing the tie. Like it's Pee-wee putting on the bow tie, putting on the shrugging in the jacket, pulling the socks up. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that is would have been a great opener for this. It is very boring as it stands. But yeah, so then the movie begins. We got this Tour de France dream sequence here, and Pee-wee goes like zipping by on the Pee-wee bike.
I like that they didn't make it like Pee-wee, like they didn't make bike gear for in Pee-wee style.
100%,
he's just in his suit. Because they could have easily been.
Although I will say, if you made like a morph suit that looked exactly like the Pee-wee suit, I would be.
I think that would be the other option. Would be it's a shirt printed to look like the Pee-wee suit.
Yes.
And like a helmet that looks like his hair.
Yes. I guess the other quick recap. This is like not the first, but like not that far along in the Pee-wee.
Well, Pee-wee had been a stage show till now.
Right. So the stage show starts in like 1980, 81-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil Hartman is a big part of the putting on the original stage show. They were friends from Groundlings in, I believe, Chicago. I hope that's right. And Pee-wee...
I think it's LA. I want to say it's because Cassandra Peterson was part of that too. And I don't remember her being in Chicago.
Okay. I thought Groundlings was Chicago, but maybe I'm just completely wrong about that.
Well, I think it started in Chicago, but there was a Groundlings.
Oh, that makes more sense. Okay, like a secondary.
Yeah.
Whatever. So Paul Reubens auditions for SNL. I think Pee-wee is like one of the characters that are part of that audition.
Probably. I think Pee-wee had been one of his staple characters for a while among the Groundlings.
Yes. Yeah, he was like a regular on the stage, and then it was part of that casting for SNL when they fired everybody and Lorne Michaels in 1980, and there was like a 5-year period without Lorne Michaels. So he doesn't make that. He goes back and like sort of mounts this children's show, but played Pee-wee as the host of it, and it's kind of like weird and very like much for adults, unlike what became the kids show.
Apparently he did 2 versions. He would have a nighttime show.
Oh, that's not what I read. The thing I read was like the original incarnation was like a show for adults that was like riffing on Howdy Doody and all that stuff. And then as it got popular, it also grew into having.
Oh, maybe that's. I remember reading that he had an evening stage show and a daytime stage show.
And so from that, we end up with this movie, which like it in the world we live in today, where like everything is like so focus grouped and
would never happen.
Decision. It's just like, it's just comical to think of like, hey, so I got this idea. It's an insane Groundling show. We're just gonna give Tim Burton a bunch of money to make a movie with that guy. All right, bye.
Yeah, this stage show that's very popular in Los Angeles that no one else knows about because they're not living in Los Angeles.
Right. Although it did get taped for, I want to say HBO, and so it did get wider exposure, but still, it was like a one-off special that aired on HBO. It wasn't like,
Yeah, and it's not like today where every Hulu and Netflix and they all present Nikki Glazer, and you're just like, well, how many fucking stand-up specials are there going to be?
Right. But also, like, I was just thinking of, people think now of HBO as like, oh, where Game of Thrones was like a huge ratings juggernaut, but like it's not like that was true back then. So it's not like that many people saw this special. So just like truly insane. I was also
like, I feel like HBO didn't do like shows until the 90s.
No way.
Like Sex and the City was probably their biggest thing, right?
But it was like 98, 99. Like it was almost 2000.
Yeah.
Sopranos starts in 99, and that's in the first maybe the second wave, but like so yeah, it's way later. But yeah, I was thinking based on the just the insanity of it, the movie we did on Patreon that Michelle American Anthem, is that what it's called?
Oh, the gymnast movie. Mm-hmm.
That like Simone Biles probably would have gotten 3 shots back in the day. Like she would have been on her third movie. It would have been like we put her in as the best friend in a rom-com. We put her in as the guy, the air quotes man in the chair in like an action movie, and then like she gets one scene where she does like a flip and knocks a guy out at the end, like the Argyle, you know,
Yeah.
he like punches the dude. And like I was just picturing it as like, this girl's got heat. Let's get her in some pictures. And that just doesn't happen.
It is interesting that it doesn't, like, the athlete to actor pipeline is not as broad as it used to be.
No. Anyway, I keep getting tangents.
Used to be a real open swim situation, and now it's like,
yeah, exactly.
line up at this chain link fence, and we will let you in one at a time if we decide.
Everybody in the pool, we're doing laps.
Yeah, it used to be that, and now it's like, no, until The Rock dies, no other athlete can become an actor.
I like that you lumped wrestler in as athlete.
Yeah.
I was genuinely being appreciative. I think that's.
Well, I think if you take out if you make a wrestler to actor pipeline separate, there's significantly less people in the pipeline.
It's a smaller pipeline. It's about a dozen people, I think.
If that.
No, you got a dozen. I don't want to sit here and rattle them all off, but I think you got a dozen.
I have no idea. The only one I can think of is Travis Kelce got to be in a Ryan Murphy show because he's dating Taylor Swift. Truly, that is.
Yes.
I'm gonna guess it's the only.
Oh, I was saying I could name a dozen acting wrestlers. That's all.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Acting, like, if you, I know there are a lot of wrestlers who become actors, but there's significantly less other athletes.
Yeah. So we wake up from the dream and we kick off this wake up routine, and it's funny that like all of these insane Rube Goldberg breakfasty things, or morning routine things are. It's like Back to the Future, also 1985, I think. I hope I'm not getting that.
I think so.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which I think is 87, and this also 85. It's like we had like a very narrow window of like gizmos. I guess Gremlins could also be in this. Sort of.
I'd allow it.
You know, with the orange juicer and the egg cracker and stuff. It's just we had this Tim Burton in particular loves him a Rube Goldberg.
He loves inventions and gadgets.
Yeah.
PeeWee starts off the breakfast Rube Goldberg machine.
What is the clock? I can't read my own note.
Oh, I didn't write the note about the clock.
Okay.
It's probably a face. If I had to guess, I'm guessing the clock is a face.
Yeah, I genuinely can't read what I wrote. It says something as the clock, as the newt clock, whatever. We're moving on. Fire pole in the house, amazing.
Always
love it.
Always love it. His window in his bathroom is a fish tank.
Yes, I also like that. This is where I was like, this is very Gremlinsy music to me. This is Tim. Yeah.
I will say he has a scale that would, if I had this scale, I would weigh myself more often. It's like fun. It gives you a little fortune.
Also, I was just thinking about this particular breakfast machine. Not that Doc Brown's is all that much better, but like this is hours to build the first iteration of this, and then like refining it, and then once you get it in like perfect working order, it's still
and it's gonna be an hour to reset.
40. Yeah, okay. I was trying to be generous and say 30, 40 minutes, but an hour feels right that you're loading all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's like twice as long as it takes to make this breakfast.
Yeah. What is Doc has the breakfast? Isn't there not like? I know there's a machine.
Doc also like feeds the dog.
I know there's a machine in Casper, but it's not a breakfast machine.
There is a weird machine in Casper. I do not at all recall what it is.
It's like a get ready in the morning machine. It's like a comfy chair, an armchair on like a roller coaster track.
Yes. Doesn't it brush your teeth?
It brushes your teeth and combs your hair and shaves your face, which one of those things should not be done on a roller coaster by a robot, sir.
Well, it's like in the real version of that, the comb scalps you. the toothbrush knocks out several molars.
Well, the comb is it's a comb on top and two combs on the side that are soft.
Yeah.
So like but they're not hard. I don't think they're hard combs. I think they're soft combs, kind of a thing. But like they say that he died of a broken heart. I think he died of a sliced jugular, if we're being honest.
Exactly.
They're good looking eggs though. We gotta say that.
Good looking eggs. Oh, and then the fakest orange in the history of
and bad bacon.
It looks like a dog ball. Very bad bacon.
Well, because I think it's a foam ball they stuck in orange juice
foam ball full of
and
juice.
and did the squeezy thingy to let it fill.
Yes. Yeah.
But they're good eggs, but it's a weird yolk to white ratio on these eggs. They clearly
they seem,
cut them with a little cutter.
Yeah. And then Pee-wee starts putting tape on his face, and I had like a flashbulb memory of the last time I was in Las Vegas, which was some years ago. And there was this huge billboard for this guy called Tape Face, who apparently was, I don't know if he won it or was a contestant on it. I know he was a contestant on it. America's Got Talent. And based on the billboard, it is just like a show where he does this that Pee-wee is doing here.
I mean, I would hope so too, but I will say that John Roberts, who voices Linda on Bob's Burgers, well, he had a bunch of YouTube characters, and one of them was a teenage girl named Deborah, and he just taped his nose up for that.
I mean, look, we've all put tape on our face. I know you have.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have. I imagine
it's a good bit.
I imagine that. Yeah, it's like a fun bit. It's a foundational bit for kids. You know,
they made it into a box game at some point.
A what?
A box. Like I was gonna say board game, but I don't know that there was a board involved.
Oh, well, like a commercially
Yes,
manufactured
like
product.
Five Below. You could go get Tape Face, the game.
Is it like licensed Tape Face?
I don't.
The guy. Or?
I have exhausted all resources.
Okay.
I just remember it was a thing, and I thought it was so hilarious.
I was just like the idea that Tape Face is big enough to have a board game was.
They put scotch tape, a couple of rolls of scotch tape in a box with, I'm guessing, cards of some kind that say like your nose, I don't know, but
you know what I bet it is? It's like different animals or certain famous people.
Oh, okay. I bet
So
that tracks.
It's like rhinoceros, and you have to like make a tape horn and put it on your nose.
Okay, I'll allow that. We'll look into it later.
By that we mean we will both forget this ever came out of our mouths almost instantaneously. But yeah, I just couldn't believe this guy has a whole show in Vegas of.
Was it like
again? He probably
like he's there for one night only, or is it like?
Oh no, baby,
he's there.
No. This was like he's the guy at, I'm gonna make up the casino, the Bellagio. It's not the Bellagio.
He's the entertainment at the Bellagio.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. He was at like the MGM Grand or something. But yes. He eats Mr. T cereal, which I assume was still in production at the time of this, although who knows?
I would guess it would be. Yeah.
But I love that Mr. T's cereal is shaped like teas. I feel like so many of the like whatever branded cereals is just like is Captain Crunch circles? No, that's like those little.
So the Crunch berries are circles.
Kicks
are circles.
So like, but Kicks, yeah, it's like I feel like most of the like branded cereals are like Kicks, where there's like a bunch of brownish balls and then a color reference.
Sometimes they're rings. The Ghostbusters cereal was rings.
Oh, that's
because it says the song says fruit flavored O's.
But like, yeah, I just like if there was Kelsey cereal, it would be like red for the Chiefs mixed in with Kicks.
Oh, there is Kelsey cereal.
I thought they just put their names on their favorites, and then they also did like a prepackaged
blend,
free for all mixed blend. Which I am not into blending cereal. I think this is chaos.
I mean, I wouldn't blend like 4 cereals, but I can see blending 2 cereals that are specific.
You pick one cereal and you stick with it. I'm very conservative in this and only this. I don't want you mixing cereals.
I mean, if you did like Cocoa Puffs and Reese's Puffs.
Worse. Reese's Puffs is better than Cocoa Puffs. You've taken a great cereal and a mid cereal, and you've made a B- cereal.
I mean, my favorite cereal is Count Chocula, bar none. So.
Okay. I think the chocolate flavor in Count Chocula is not as good.
But the chocolate flavor in Reese's Puffs also has the peanut butter going on.
Exactly.
But I just want the chocolate. It's Count Chocula.
S tier cereal, B tier cereal. You're mixing them together. I don't get what you're trying to accomplish here. We go outside and we learn that Pee-wee is the reason that HOAs exist.
Well, I love that the outside of his house matches the inside, because they could have not done that.
Yeah, it would be very Burton-y if the outside was like, cookie cutter, suburbia, whatever, his like nightmare. Because the outside of this neighborhood, other than Pee-wee's house, is very much Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, for sure. Well, and that could have leaned into the bit of like Pee-wee's Playhouse, which like,
oh, sure,
crazy on the inside, normal on the outside kind of thing.
Right.
He has a neighbor.
Like, you know what? He does.
I
was just gonna say, like all of Tim Burton's stuff is about like feeling like you don't fit in suburban life. Like at least his early stuff, like all of that is sort of woven through there. Of like I don't I don't fit in this world that I've been put in. I don't quite know how to operate in this universe. Is basically it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Oh, you're saying you also feel that?
I also feel I don't know how things operate either.
Yeah. No, but it's like, it's like, it is interesting that he doesn't get lumped in with like the other filmmakers who I feel like were doing stuff like that, because his is about suburbia and everyone's like, oh, you fucking baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that is like a real through line of early Tim Burton criticism is you fucking baby.
He was just a weirdo art kid and someone gave him money.
He is. Right, but it's like he was a weirdo art kid who like found success, and like the thing that drove him was feeling like an outsider, and he made movies that represented how he felt. And it's just like because he had, like I assume his parents were well enough off if he lived in a nice house in suburbia and all that stuff. Like I don't know the biographical details here, but it's just like I just feel like the undercurrent is always you fucking baby. Like other people had it really hard. It's like, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like I don't think Tim Burton would be like, my life was harder than people who were abused. I think he would be like, I had a life I struggled.
They're going to also identify with my movie.
Yeah. Francis rolls up here, right? This is when we get Francis. Or no, we get the secret
agent
first, which I love.
Reveal of the bike. The only thing I'm shocked is missing is an eye scanner or a voice print.
Oh, sure. Yeah. They hadn't conceived of that yet.
Yeah.
But this when Francis rolls up, this is the part where I'm like, okay, this movie is genuinely confusing. PeeWee has a bully? How old is PeeWee? What am I supposed to be?
PeeWee's a child.
But like you said, it's like adults playing children. But the thing of it that's weird is like PeeWee clearly lives alone and maybe has a job. It's not clear if PeeWee has a job.
I mean, we don't ever talk about it. We don't have to talk about it.
He affords the rent and or mortgage on this home somehow. Dottie has a job.
Dottie does have a job. But also, like, if you think about, like, kids' media of the 90s and such, it wasn't weird for, like, I don't know, the tomboy in class also for some reason has a job. And it's like, you're all 12. What do you mean she has a job at the bike shop?
Yeah.
But, like, didn't seem weird in, like, a Rocket Power universe or whatever.
Right. Child labor laws did not exist. We get the full I know you are, but what am I? Again, somewhat confusing as to how old PeeWee is.
I do kind of wish, because they have real children in this movie.
Right. That's why it's confusing. It's like,
but they treat them as peers.
That's right.
So I guess
like when PeeWee very shortly rolls into the bike shop and he's like talking to the BMX boys in the bike shop in their little outfits, which is a great Burton touch. It's very clear that like they all are pals.
Yeah,
like maybe
they're not making fun of this adult for being a weirdo.
Right.
Like,
yeah, because like to borrow a phrase from John Mulaney or paraphrase John Mulaney, these kids would own this man's ass. He would get shredded.
Specific insults about the things you don't even realize you hate.
Yeah, like, nice socks, dickhead. Like it would be brutal. It would just like he would cry and leave the bike shop a sad man.
Like I almost wish that they hired all people around PeeWee and E.G. Daly's age to play all the children, and then all of the adults 100%. Were played by like much older people.
Right. It's like every adult is 80.
Exactly. Every adult is the age of his neighbor.
Yeah. I do love, you mentioned the neighbor in passing, but where he's like, I'm going to water my lawn. And the guy's like, all right. And he shuts the window. And like, I feel like in the real life version, it'd be someone like our grandfather who'd be like, fucking guy. Really annoyed.
I mean, he is dressed like our grandfather. He had a fun print shirt on.
For sure. Yeah. He wouldn't have said the F word, but he definitely would have been like grumbling about this weirdo neighbor of his. We see we see the BMX guys like doing tricks in the park.
I don't think they're the same BMX. I think they're different BMX guys because they're not wearing the same outfit.
No, they're not. Yeah.
Also, we missed the bully. Francis wants to buy PeeWee's bike for his birthday.
Yes,
and
it's his birthday.
My dad says I can get whatever I want, and I want your bike. And PeeWee's like, no, not for sale.
Right. Francis and then later his dad wearing a one-piece romper that would get him very laid in certain parts of Philadelphia right now, I think. I mean,
it was also like 70s like disco den kind of vibe.
Oh, yes, but like I feel like the dad in particular is giving like Zaddy vibes to me.
Not 100%, but I'll allow it.
I think you see him with like a pipe and he's like sipping his vodka soda and he's just like posted up at the bar and getting a lot of attention. We have a fantastic stunt.
It's so good.
Launched off his bike. Really great. Obviously, the stunt double looks nothing like PeeWee because it's a very specific haircut, but really great launch into he sort of tumbles to a stop in front of these kids, and then he's like, "I'm fine," and then just runs off. And then honestly, like, not my favorite gag in the movie, but not far behind favorite gag in the movie is PeeWee parking the bike and then doing the magician handkerchief
with chains,
chain coming out of the box, the saddlebag on the bike, and it just and then cutting away and cutting back.
Well, because it goes on for the perfect length of time. If it was any shorter or any longer, it would not work. But it is like the exact right length of time for this stupid joke.
It's a masterfully edited joke.
Yes.
It is really well edited. As you said, it's perfect length of time, and the cutaway and cutback is excellent.
He chains his bike to a clown statue, a moving clown statue, because all the other bike slots are taken.
Yeah. And he goes into the first store, which I forget what it is.
It's like a novelty shop.
It's the magician store, and he picks up like the trick bow tie and the trick gum.
He's kind of like, not Moneypenny, Q.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And he's like, these are the things I got in for you, Mr. Herman.
Yes. It's very much Q. I didn't think about that. And then he goes to meet Dottie and gives one of my favorite lines in all of movies, and one I say all the time to confused people. I'm a loner. I'm a rebel.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
It is the perfect inflection of this nerd man not understanding what he is saying and the meaning of it, and yet somehow saying the correct thing to be like, I'm not interested in it.
Well, it's also exactly like a child would say that, and you'd be like, all right,
yes.
Go ahead. All right, kid, get out of here.
Exactly.
Take your apple slices and go.
Dottie, of course, played by E.G. Daly.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Did I get it right? The actress who voices Tommy Pickles, and turns out Tommy Pickles just her regular voice.
Oh,
so it's very.
I think
weird.
she does a little pitch up, but it's just that.
There's like 3 or 4 lines in the movie where she just is Tommy Pickles. Come on,
Well, don't you remember when we did Valley Girl?
Oh yeah, of course.
And we were like, this is just Tommy Pickles' voice, but she's talking about boobs, and I don't like it.
Yes.
But they have a very cute little relationship. Like, clearly, like it's the kind of thing like, oh, they've neighbors who've grown up together. Like, kind of a vibe.
And she's got a crush, and he has no interest in her.
She's dressed like an Olsen twin.
She's absolutely dressed like an Olsen twin. She's also dressed like a kid, like the overalls.
Either like the short overalls with a crazy t-shirt. And does she have a backwards hat on in the scene? Am I making that up?
I think she has a ponytail, not a backwards hat.
Okay.
And then she's also not the owner of the bike shop. There's like an adult man, clearly an adult man, who is the owner of the bike shop.
He goes out, and it's a great reveal because it's just his feet walking along bikes, and then you see a bunch of pieces of the chain that he used to chain up his bike, and then
like 3 sad little links,
and then cut to his face, and then cut to the clown statue just laughing at him.
Yeah. The clown becomes like truly evil for a couple seconds there. And then we get bike dominoes for the first time, which is very good and good setup.
And then the cops show up only to say we can't do anything and leave. You could have just said that on the phone.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it could have been like, yeah, we're not going to... You can come down to the station and get a stolen bike report for your insurance, but, like, we're not coming down there.
Well, they say, we can't do anything that's been missing for a while. Then you can come to the station. And then later he goes to the station, and they just go, oh, yeah, we can't do anything. It's like, well, why'd you say to come down here?
Right. Also, the bike is stolen right in front of a Woolworths. And do you know when Woolworths went out of business?
I'm going to guess in the 80s or 90s.
Okay, so to me, Woolworths feels like firmly a 60s brand. Like, Woolworths, in my mind, like 1970, we turned the Happy New Year, and Woolworths was just decimated from the planet. Truth of the matter is, 1997, the last Woolworths. No, Woolworths almost made it to the millennium.
Interesting. Well, I only know Woolworths and Woolco from watching vintage Halloween and Christmas commercials.
I'm pretty sure it's a Woolworths in Christmas Story that they go to.
Oh, I think so. I think
it might be a Woolworths.
Well, because Woolworths used to be like a Macy's, and then they stopped being like a Macy's. Right. And were more like a Target, I think.
Yeah, but I was like, in my head, like, that is firmly a 60s, no later than 1969. We put a man on the moon, we closed the Woolworths.
We have candy bars of all sizes.
Yeah, exactly.
Woolworths and Woolco. buy this record. Sounds to make you shiver. Only $1.99.
The idea that I could have been in a Woolworths as a 10-year-old is just confounding to me.
So after the cops leave, Pee-wee's walking around, and literally everyone on the sidewalk is on a bike of some kind. And it's such a great shot of him walking like sad Charlie Brown, and it's like a mime on a unicycle, a man on a penny farthing with a vintage mustache.
Yeah. When I was a reporter back in the day, the Frederick had a penny farthing race, and I was like, I really want to like ride one of these for a story. And then I found out that they're like really difficult to learn how to ride.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are almost guaranteed to fall off it. And I was like, yeah, maybe.
Well, I think you have to like launch yourself onto it.
Mm-hmm. You do.
Like,
and you have to like do it next to a wall as you're learning. Like you have to climb onto it.
Yeah, it's wild.
Feet up. Yeah. The guy I talked to briefly was like, yeah, you're gonna want to wear like full pads, like hockey pads.
Oh God.
And I was like, all right, I'm never mind. I'm not that interested.
And skip.
My editor was like, we are not gonna cover that hospital bill. I was like, all right. We go to Francis's house, and
Pee-wee goes to the police, and they say they won't do anything.
Oh, right. Francis pretending to be a sea monster in this giant bathtub. Very Tim Burton, but also a thing like as a kid, just below the Kevin McAllister ice cream sundae for me.
This bathtub.
Like, could you imagine? This bathtub is amazing.
Well, isn't this also? It's been 1,000 years. This feels like also like what Billy Madison's bathtub was like.
Billy Madison's bathtub is also huge, but I don't think Billy Madison
not a pool.
is standing in it. Yeah, this is a pool.
Yeah,
he's standing in.
Pee-wee locks the door and attacks Francis in the tub/pool. He has a fistful of his hair.
Yeah. Oh, also the doorman at Francis's house, the butler or whatever his title is the guy who played Sub-Zero in The Running Man. I thought it was Odd Job from the Bond movies, but it is.
Well, it's because he did.
Was he number 2? Maybe.
I think he did a parody of that character.
He's not Random Task, is he?
I know he was in Three Ninjas because I looked this up because he's.
Oh, okay, that's why I know.
He's Professor T something.
Okay.
I'm
not going to remember a specific Three Ninjas pull, just that he was in Three Ninjas.
Well, I mean, no, he's like not his character name. Like he as an actor is known as Professor. I want to say Professor Tanaka, but I could be wrong.
Oh yeah.
And I think he wrestled too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, another wrestling actor.
There we go.
We get the dad. Francis's dad, who's like, "Now, boys, shake hands."
Very much a dad in a children's movie.
Yes. So they do that, and then Pee-wee's like, "You guys want some trick gum? I mean, regular gum that's not weird at all." And we get to see Francis get all black in the mouth, but I'm guessing this older actor was like, "No, thank you."
Well, I think his was supposed to be hot gum, because he just said trick gum. He didn't specify what it was, so it could have been like,
okay, one
is just super spicy, one is
okay. Well, I want to see steam come out of this man's ears then, because that's what movie we're doing.
I agree.
We're in a Looney Tune.
Then we see that Francis hired a 50s greaser bully to steal the bike.
Yes. Yeah. And he's like, "Hey, what do you want me to do with this thing now? It's going to cost you extra to get
Like, the fact that he's not wearing a black leather motorcycle jacket is shocking to me. He's got the duck's ass hair. He's got, I think he has something rolled up in his sleeve.
Whip out a switchblade comb and comb his hair with it is outrageous.
Yes.
But Pee-wee has a big meeting that goes on for 3 hours where he's trying to enlist his friends to help him get his bike back.
It's like all the BMX kids, Dottie and the guy, Chuck, who runs the bike shop. He starts like, Exhibit A, the victims, me and my bike. Exhibit B, It's just me. And then like, Exhibit Q.
It's very well done, like cutting away and cutting back. He's got like the crazy murder board on the wall with the string and stuff.
Everyone I do like the line, "What's the significance? I don't know."
Yeah. He is home, but then is walking through the rain, like having a sad walk
in a city, a major city.
Yes. Yeah. It's like it's the just off screen. You can't see it, but Batman's mother is getting shot. Pearls are spiraling into the
it's Crime Alley or a backlot, a theme park backlot. And
these like tough guys come up to him, and he's just like, "Rah!" and they run away, which I think is delightful.
And then he runs into a Wizard of Oz style huckster psychic. who just takes his wallet and looks in it.
Yes, it's amazing.
And she
And then does the full on just like pulling words off the opposite wall. Your bike is in the Alamo.
in the basement.
The basement. It's delightful.
So he has to go to Texas. So he's carrying a cardboard cutout of Texas and hitchhiking.
Yes. This is such a bizarre. It's so Muppet-like, this movie. He gets hitchhikes with this guy,
An escaped convict named Mickey.
Yeah, and PeeWee just meets this guy with empathy. Like in a different movie from this era, this guy is very scary, and PeeWee's like, "Aah!" and, like jumps out of the car, and instead he's just like, I don't know what you did, but you're probably fine.
Yeah, well, like, what happened? What were you in for?
Yeah.
And the guy's crime was that he removed a do not remove mattress tag, which is so Muppets.
Yeah, that's that joke might actually be in a Muppet Show episode at some
Or I mean, it could be what the evil Kermit, one of evil Kermit's crimes.
Right.
He's a lot like the convict murderer guy that we briefly see in Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, who ends up running from Elvira.
Yeah.
And as they're driving, we see Pee-wee's bike on a truck just behind Pee-wee, and he doesn't turn around.
Yeah, you're like, Pee-wee, look right, god damn it.
Turn around! There's a police blockade in front of them, and so Pee-wee's like, let me get in drag!
Yeah, they just whip out these disguises.
Well, the best is
hitting on Pee-wee, which is funny because it's very obviously Pee-wee, and then I love that his wig is like from like the yarmulke part of your head backwards.
It's like it's somewhere between, it's like a Carol Brady meets Shelley Duvall.
Yes, 100%. Shelley Duvall is what I had in my head the whole time. But it's like a half wig. Like it's Paul Reubens' hair from like the middle of his head forward, and then the wig starts.
Well, and the convict is not wearing a costume. He just zipped up his denim, like...
They slap a goatee on him.
Oh, I thought it was just sunglasses and he zipped up his jacket.
It's a goatee. No, they put a goatee on him because he whips the goatee out of the car after. But the cop is hitting on Pee-wee in front of this man, and he was like being like, "Oh, honey," like it's clearly a couple. Like, first of all, it's Pee-wee, so what are you doing? And second of all, this is a taken person. Stop it.
Yeah. And they drive away. He even makes Pee-wee get out of the car so he can get a better look at his outfit.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's so bizarre. And then, of course, we get Pee-wee take the wheel.
And it's very, like, theme park / Muppet road signs of, like, curve, yes. And then it's a corkscrew, and then it's a child scribble of a thing, and then falling rocks.
It's just like someone took a loose fistful of spaghetti and dropped it on the floor and took a picture. That's the sign.
And they end up careening off the cliff, and the soft top parachute saves them.
Yes, but before that, they're like floating forever, and he wakes the guy up, and then the guy like looks at Pee-wee, takes a deep breath, and then starts screaming. It's very funny.
That one is very Looney Tunes, as you were saying earlier.
Yeah. So they float down to a crash, and then he kicks Pee-wee out, and he's like, "I'm a loner. I'm a rebel."
And Pee-wee goes, "Deja vu." And then we get the little animated eye sequence in the dark.
Yes.
And then
Pee-wee somehow ends up on Joe Exotic's farm.
I will never financially recover from this.
Hey, you're in the Walmart bucket. You're in with all the expired meat. My employees need to eat.
The loose meat bin.
Stop stepping on the loose meat.
He turns on
There's a bunch of balonies in there. My employees are going to eat.
Then he turns on his headlight goggles, and I thought it would be like, in my head, it's always like scarier animals, like bears and tigers and shit. But it's just like,
there's a lion there.
Is there? Well, I missed a lion. There's like a deer, very prominent in the front. Like it feels just very like there are animals here, and not like scary animals.
There's a couple of lions. There's like a lion in the foreground and a lion in the background.
Okay. And then he gets picked up by the one, the only, large motherfucking Marge.
This scared the shit out of me as a child.
Oh, it's the Kyoto brothers.
So scary. Yeah. That checks out. I didn't know that in advance, but that does totally checks out. But the other thing I wrote down is like, this woman came in I don't know. This woman either has a billion credits or like none. I have no idea what the true answer is. I didn't look.
I'm going to guess a billion.
It is like such a perfect example of someone understanding exactly what they're there to do, really nailing it, and then taking the Uber out of the movie, and that's the end of it.
Well, I always forget that she doesn't like, he gets in her cab and immediately she starts monologuing the story. Like, it's not, where you headed, kid? There's no exchange. He gets in and says, thanks, lady. And she's like, 10 years ago.
Yep. And she does the classic ghost story of, the picked up by the ghost, the hitchhiker is picked up by the ghost. And when she drops him off, when eventually she does the like Kyoto Brothers. Still scary. And then drops him off and is like, tell him Large Marge sent you. And when he tells the people in the bar or rest stop that, they all freak out. And then there's a huge display on the wall of like R.I.P. Large Marge.
It's got her picture on it and everything. And
it's like a relief carving.
Her death date is in a couple days. It's January 11th.
Oh, all right. Well, we should have put the episode out early, I guess.
Yeah, right.
PeeWee doesn't have his wallet, and so he washes dishes to earn his meal.
And Simone and PeeWee are the Penguin's parents in Batman Returns.
Oh, how about that? Are there any other like big recurring Burton people in this?
I don't think so, other than Danny Elfman.
Is Johnny Depp like hiding in the background somewhere?
Well, Johnny Depp didn't. It used to be. I think it first was Michael Keaton, and then it became Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and Johnny Depp hung around way longer.
Yes, he did. And then he goes through women much quicker than men.
Sure, yeah. Well, that's why What's Her Face is in Beetlejuice 2, because they're dating.
Oh, that the pretty woman?
The woman who's like putting herself back together.
Oh, that's his new girlfriend.
That's his new girlfriend, yeah.
Got it. Because
so he watched.
It went Helen Bonham Carter, and then it was it was Lisa Marie, and then Helen Bonham Carter, and then Ava Green, and now it's this woman.
Yeah. Ava Green, short term.
Real short term. She did like 2 things for him.
Yeah. So he washes the dishes. He goes to say goodbye to Simone, who like kind of is taking a shine to PeeWee, and so they go. She shows him like one of her favorite places. These dinosaurs are in California, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not too far from Los Angeles. These giant dinosaurs, and so they sit inside and they watch the sunrise together. And her boyfriend, who must be a pro wrestler because this man is enormous.
He's massive,
small, but this dude has to be 6'6". Is like eavesdropping, and it is like a delightful cartoony thing where they're having a conversation about like hopes and dreams, but when he hears his flirtatious stuff, because it's like, well, everybody's got a big butt, and she's like, well, you have a particularly big
what's
butt.
your big butt? Everyone I know has a big butt. Let me see. Let's hear your big butt, Simone.
Yeah, BUT butt. And so it's just like the guy's basically got steam coming out of his ears. He goes and pulls a big dinosaur bone off a sign to beat PeeWee to death.
I will say the sunrise through the T-Rex mouth is really lovely looking when they do show that.
It is, yeah. It is super cool. It made me wonder if you actually could go in these dinosaurs. I assumed you could not.
I think you can.
Maybe, I don't know. This could also just be a set.
I guess, yeah. I think it was in a video game where you could go inside the dinosaurs, but I can't remember what game.
Oh, okay. So chases him around with the bone. PeeWee gets away.
Hops on a train.
Yeah. And I don't know if I talked to you about this off pod, so apologies if I have, but for whatever reason, YouTube has decided I really want to watch people hop trains, and I don't quite get
That's
why.
weird.
Like it doesn't align with other things that I watch on there. But let me tell you, watching a person in the year 2023 or 2024 or perhaps now, like get on a train and ride it cross country as a way of like traveling for free looks like the least comfortable. It's like, yeah, you got there for free, but you were fully exposed to the elements during a rainstorm and it was 22 degrees outside and you were just like huddled under a tarp shivering. Like you got there for free, but you paid a high cost.
Yeah. Yes. I have not seen any of these videos, so my YouTube does not show me that.
It's like guys like will be like, I'm gonna go from Colorado to Texas using only trains, but they like can't fully like know the train where it's going because like obviously there's not like a timetable for every freight train in America.
Yeah.
That they can just reference. And so they like hop on a train. I clicked on one out of like morbid curiosity because they just kept being fed to me. And I was just like, this is dumb. Like, this is so stupid. Like, this guy's like in the back of a train, freezing and shivering, and then like boiling a cup of noodles, boiling water to make a cup of noodles, and then just like eating it. And it's just like
Does he make a fire in the train?
He not a fire, like a little camp stove.
Oh, okay.
But it's just like Greyhound tickets are not that expensive. Like, I know that I'm speaking of a privileged position here, but it doesn't seem like this person is doing this for need. It seems like they're doing this for novelty and content.
Yeah, they're doing it for content, and then they're going to come up with a cutesy name for hitching a ride.
Modern hobo or something.
Like how we call it, they're like frogging. Do you know what frogging is?
Yeah, I don't.
Frogging is when someone lives in your house, in your walls, without your knowledge.
Oh, a hider in the house.
And it's like, why we don't have to give everything a cutesy fucking name. Like, that's a bad thing.
Plus, we already have the Gary Busey film "Hider in the House" that explains.
I don't know that
what
one.
it is. Oh, baby, we should do that on the pod.
What year is that?
I have no idea, but I watched it and it's a hoot. Gary Busey like gets released from prison, I think is the context, and they're building a house, and he goes up in the attic while it's under construction, and he puts in like a fake wall, so he gives himself like a third of the attic.
Oh.
And so he like puts in this fake wall, and then he has like a little mini apartment that he can get, and he like sneaks into the house and steals their food and stuff.
Yeah, that's usually how they get caught, is that they steal the food.
Yeah.
He has a nightmare about his bike, and then he meets a fellow traveler on the train.
Hobo Joe.
Yeah, Hobo Joe.
And then when he goes to exit this conversation and leaps off the train, all I could think of, this is exactly how I feel when a stranger initiates conversation with me and I don't want to be involved in it. This is what I wish I could do.
Yes. But like, I'm surprised the Hobo Joe character didn't have a top hat with the top askew.
100%. Yep. And like his toes sticking out of his shoe.
Uh-huh. Like the character in Futurama.
Yeah, 100%.
But he jumps out because he's annoying and lands at the Alamo.
Perfect timing. And then this is honestly the best kid POV part of the whole movie, because I feel like this is exactly what it felt like to be in a museum you didn't want to go to as a kid.
Well, the tour guide is Jan Hooks, who played Jenna Maroney's mom on 30 Rock.
Yes, and a longtime SNL performer, 10 years or so, I think.
I think she did Stevie Nicks a lot.
I remember Stevie Nicks, but I definitely remember a lot of Jan Hooks. I think she's very funny. Fortunately, I think passed away a couple of years ago. But yeah, I like the part where Pee-wee's like sort of half listening and is like so bored. It's just such a perfect illustration of what it feels like.
He just wants to go to the basement and she won't let him ask a question.
He reunites with Simone here after the Alamo and gets dunked on for thinking the Alamo had a basement.
Yeah, there's no basement at the Alamo. I feel like was also a common phrase in our house.
Yes. I remember when I went to Texas and did my trip down to Texas to eat all that barbecue, I went to the Alamo because I was like, I should do some culture things other than just eat barbecue and tacos here. And so I went to the Alamo. You want to know who's the largest single person collector of Alamo memorabilia? You probably couldn't get this in 50 guesses. It's a musician from the 80s.
Musician from the 80s?
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper.
No, it's a man.
Oh. Is it Lionel Richie?
It is Phil Collins, a British man, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He's a huge Alamo guy.
Weird.
Half of the pieces on display are like courtesy of Phil Collins. And I was like, that's a weird coincidence. And then I looked it up and it's like, it's not a coincidence. It's Phil Collins, the You'll Be in My Heart.
of Tarzan fame.
Yeah. Of that Phil Collins.
Whose daughter is in Paris.
Just a huge Alamo guy. Crazy.
I think his daughter is Emily in Paris. I think she's Lily Collins.
Is that right? I have no. I did not.
I know Lily Collins is his daughter, so I'm
okay.
pretty sure that's who Emily in Paris is.
I had no idea. I was a full whoosh to me. I was like, maybe this is a musical thing.
No, yeah, his daughter's Lily Collins.
Another great gag. He's on the payphone talking to Dottie, and she's like, "Where are you?" He's like, "I'm in Texas," and she's like, "I don't believe you." And then he leans back and goes, "The stars at night," and everybody does which is delightful. Very Burton-y, very Muppetsy.
Yeah, and he apologizes to Dottie, and asks her. And you think I thought it was going can we go, like, let's go to the drive-in together. I thought it was going there.
Yes. Him pretending that the connection is bad to not go on this date with her, I find
After asking her to buy him a bus ticket.
Yes, yeah, like, sorry, Dottie, the connection's bad.
And then
but I also love that he has a full conversation with his dog over the phone. Like,
oh
they
yeah,
speak to each other.
They're speaking the same language. But he hangs up the phone and then runs into Andy again, Simone's boyfriend, who I guess was probably going after Simone.
He was. The guy at the ticket counter is like, you just missed her. That bus left 5 minutes ago.
Okay. And so he chases PeeWee around. And in a very Muppety turn of events, PeeWee ends up dressed as a famous bull rider and accidentally breaks a world record.
Yeah, very, very good. Him like coming out of the dressing room or trailer with the bandit mask up over his thing, and then the clothes don't really fit, so he's walking all stiff-legged.
He's all wobbly, yeah. So he breaks a world record, and then Andy jumps in to fight him, and he's wearing a red shirt, and the bull just takes him out.
Yeah, again, full Muppet action. Also, I will say, I truly think I was wrong and always was wrong. But in my like more physically fit days, there was a non-small part of me that was like, I'd be good at that. Like, no, I wouldn't have. Not even a little bit. There's no chance I would have been good at that. But for whatever reason, you'd look at the bull ride and be like, yeah, I can do that.
I was good at mechanical bulls.
I have done a mechanical bull. It is not that fun, to be honest with you.
No, it's not fun, but
when I did it, it was very funny. I was like with a group of men and women, and I think it was a friend of mine's birthday. There was a place in Baltimore. There was a bar in Baltimore called PBR, and it was like professional bull riding, not the beer.
Oh, weird.
And they had a mechanical bull, and this friend of mine was like, I'm not getting thrown off this thing. And I was like, yeah, you are. Like, you're being silly. And she's like, nope. And so she gets up there and she like bear hugs the bull, and she's like got her arms around its neck and her legs around it. And what they would do, it was in hindsight quite funny. If a man got on there, they'd flip it to about 8 out of 10 immediately, and the dude would just get launched. It was
yeah.
Like, Fing, gone. And if a woman got on there, they would do it fairly slow so that the woman would sort of jiggle all over.
Yeah. It's
you imagine.
Misogyny.
Well, so like women were getting on it, and then they were like, you know, having them jiggle. But my friend didn't get on in like jiggle format. She was like, fuck this, I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
So she laid down on it, right? Like imagine, you know, getting on top and then flopping your chest.
Yeah, no, I've got it.
So she's got her arms around the neck. She's flopped down this thing. She's wearing a dress. And so like, as it's going, like the dress is revealing her underwear and her butt, which is like it was like, you know, nothing.
Not salacious. It's just.
Yeah. It was just like, oh, her underwear keeps flapping up. And the guy kept like clearly like turning the dial up, but because she had like clamped on that thing like an octopus, it was just like ring. And then finally they're like, all right, you win. Get off.
I love that.
Yeah. We were all like, your underwear keeps showing. If you don't want that, you should get off.
No, she got to win. I respect that.
Yeah, she was like, I'm winning.
PeeWee ends up in a biker bar and gets kicked out because he tries to tell him to be quiet because he's on the phone.
This is so funny. They're like, excuse me, I'm on the phone. Delightful.
And then he knocks over all of their bikes and gets yanked back inside.
I've talked about this 10,000 times. I think it's Once Upon a Time in America or is this in Goodfellas? No, it's a Once Upon a Time in America where there's like a biker gang that won't leave this place, and they like knock all the bikes over, and then they lock all the bikers in there with them and just beat the snot out of them.
Oh, I think, yes.
With bikers.
It was also, I think, also in What We Do in the Shadows. I think Jackie Daytona did that.
Oh, yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yeah.
Except they were doing a toy drive.
Yeah.
But it's Cassandra Peterson, aka Elvira, is the queen of the bikers.
That's right.
Because they were buddies. Yeah. I think the only reason he wasn't in Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, is because of scheduling conflicts. But he was supposed to be in it somewhere.
But not as PeeWee, probably.
No. He would have just been, himself.
So they're like, we're going to kill you. And he's like, that seems fair, but can I have a last request? And then I love that he borrows the shoes from the busboy who's got the like white platform.
They're like Latin dance heels, kind of.
They do. Yeah. That's a good way a good term for it. I wouldn't know that term, but that seems exactly how you should describe these shoes. And then I'm sure that there was a wire involved, but him getting up on the tiptoes looks really hard.
I don't know. I mean, it is a dance skill to do that kind of shit.
Yeah, it just looks like these shoes aren't designed to go up. Like, the way he goes up on them doesn't look like you should be able to do that on these shoes.
Yeah, maybe. But he does the tequila dance, or dances to the tequila song, I should say.
Yeah, I don't know that this is the tequila dance, except that it is now. But I don't know that it was then.
Yeah, he made one.
Yeah.
And he wins them all over. They give him a motorcycle and a little leather vest that goes over his suit.
Uh-huh. And the fact that they give him the motorcycle and everyone's like, yeah, this is great. And I'm like, it's like real hard to ride a motorcycle, listen. And then he crashes immediately. I had forgotten that part, and I laughed very hard.
It's so good. And
because this is exactly how I have no interest in owning a motorcycle. I don't think I possess the ability to regularly ride a motorcycle. It seems too dangerous for me. I'm not saying for others. I'm just saying for
I would be interested, but my boyfriend and our mother would never let me.
I have no interest in, like I said, owning one or whatever, but I would really, really like to take the 1-day course where they teach you how to ride one, because I would like to know how to do it just in case.
That's fair.
And I love to collect a vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Well, my neighbor has motorcycles.
Well, if you go to Harley Davidson's, they always have a big course to teach you how to drive. A coworker, a friend of mine did it, and it looked like fun as hell. And I was like, I should give this a whirl. And then it was like, when am I going to do this? I don't have time to do this. But I would love to get the 1-day course.
Yeah, that's fair.
Meanwhile, Pee-wee's bike is delivered to the kid from Back to the Future.
First, we get the dream sequence, the nightmare sequence with super Danny Elfman-ass music.
Oh,
with
yes.
the clown
Actually,
hospital.
Before that, there's a great moment where we see the crash, and then it cuts to ambulance, and all of the bikers escorting the ambulance to the hospital, which I thought was very sweet. That these guys they were going to kill this man. He won them over so hard with the dance that they're like, "This is our friend. We must go to the hospital." But yeah, you can talk about the nightmare sequence.
Yeah, it's this horrifying nightmare bike hospital, and it's this insanely Danny Elfman-ass music. And they're grabbing blow torches and bike parts. And then there's one guy that's not a clown. And he looks at Pee-wee, and then he takes off his surgical mask, and he's got the clown smile painted on, and it's very unsettling.
Yeah. His is actually the creepiest of all because he doesn't have the rest of the grease.
Oh yeah.
It's just the shark mouth. As he wakes up, we find out the bike is being delivered to the kid from Back to the Future, not Marty, but the older brother or younger brother of Marty's mom, I think. So Marty's mom has 2 younger brothers. One is in the playpen, and he's like, "You better get used to that, kid." And then he has the other one who, when Marty's like, "Oh, this one's a classic. I love this one." He's like, I've seen the rerun so many times. They're like, the kid that's like, "What's a rerun?"
Yeah, I think it's the second one.
He might also be the older brother in the Wonder Years, but I'm going to stop pretending to know who this
He
is.
is.
Okay. He has a name. I just don't know it.
I couldn't be bothered.
I did look it up. I just didn't write down. Oh, he's also the bully in the Monster Squad. Now I'm done.
That's right.
He calls Horace the F word, and then Rudy makes him eat the candy bar.
My name is Horace.
Exactly.
So Pee-wee goes to Hollywood to get his stuff back, to get his bike back, rather.
He is, by the way, playing a complete piece of shit. This kid is such a shit.
He's doing such a good job at it.
Destroying it. It's a great performance, but man, this kid sucks butt. He should get kicked in the face.
Yes. He's controlling the whole set. He's yelling at everyone. He's a little shit.
He does the, I heard this story and it really made me laugh. Did you watch any of the television show version of the Santa Claus? I think we watched 2 episodes in this house.
Oh, is this the story of Casey Wilson?
Casey Wilson,
and how she fucking hates Tim Allen?
Yeah, because Tim Allen was like, "You got to tell her she's stepping on my lines." And meanwhile, his lines are like, "Ah, ooh, ah, ah."
And also, she was next to him.
dialogue.
He called in a producer to say,
Yes.
"You have to tell the woman standing next to me she's stepping on my lines."
I can't get enough of stories clowning on Tim Burton. Have you heard the
Tim Allen.
Alan Rickman one? Yes, sorry, Tim Allen. Apologies, Tim Burton. Have you heard the one about Alan Rickman on Galaxy Quest?
No.
So the director is talking to Tim Allen and getting him to try to really lean into something. And he's trying to get him to play on the emotion of the moment. I think there's a moment in Galaxy Quest where Tim Allen's character gets little verklempt. I think if you.
Yeah, I think there's, someone gets hurt badly.
Yeah. Yeah. And Tim Allen plays the scene. They call cut. People are like, "Wow, Tim, that was spectacular." And he's like, I don't feel good. I gotta go to my trailer." And he just like walks off the set. And Alan Rickman goes, "Apparently Tim Allen has just discovered acting." Sorry, emotions.
I love that.
It just fucking rules. But yeah, anyway, can't get enough clowning on Tim Allen's stories, so fire him to us on the socials if you like.
I do. It is similar. I mean, well, a little off the rails. Did I ever tell you about the West End production of Wicked the day the Queen died?
No.
So this poor beleaguered producer comes out on stage before the show, and it's basically like, as I'm sure you're all aware, Her Majesty the Queen has unfortunately passed away.
Sure.
Our sympathies are with the royal family, yada yada. All of the West End producers have gotten together and made the decision that all West End shows will be performed as originally written with no adjustments or changes in honor of Her Majesty the Queen. And he had to say that
I don't get that.
because the musical Wicked opens with everyone singing, "Good news, she's dead."
Oh.
The Witch of the West is dead. So they had to come out and be like, "Hey, this was it's written like this. We didn't do anything."
Oh, sure. Would people be that dumb?
Yes.
That seems insane. Okay.
Yes. Don't ask that question when you know the answer.
But isn't it in the playbill? Does it say like she's dead?
It's called No One Mourns the Wicked.
Okay. They should have reprinted the playbills to put "she's dead" in parentheses.
But not the Queen.
Yeah, she's dead.
Parentheses, not the Queen.
Not the Queen, comma, we're talking about the Wicked Witch of the West.
Again, not the Queen.
Again, not the Queen.
Cannot stress enough.
There's like it keeps getting... Like,
it's a fold out. It's like a centerfold.
Yeah, it's flip.
Cannot stress enough. We are not talking about the Queen.
Yeah. And then like you turn the page and it's just a blank, it's all white, and then just like the man lands on the moon size font. It's just like, again, not.
So PeeWee dresses up as a nun because it's a scene of like an orphan boy giving his bike away to talking to the nuns. So PeeWee dressed as a nun comes up and goes, "I'm going to throw the paper out. Bye." And just leaves with the bike in the middle of the take.
Dressed as like the full flying nun, crazy veil.
The horizontal 1 foot on each side habit. And again, the music here is super Wizard of Oz inspired. Like it's
100%.
One note different from the Miss Gulch.
Yep. And I really love the sequence of, and this is such like a backlotty, like insider Hollywood nerdy reference thing, but like the security guards running to unplug the golf carts, and they do it kind of like Sam Raimi, like fast cuts of like of all the carts getting unplugged, is so funny to me.
But it's this amazing chase sequence through the movie studio, which again, so Muppety.
My one note here.
Really?
This is very minor. There's no Roman centurions. I feel like there's always Roman centurions.
Oh,
in the
you're
backlot.
right. There aren't
it's the
any.
one thing that there isn't, and like there's no reason for them to be there in 1985, but it's just such a staple of backlots that I was like, you can't give me one Roman centurion.
You get feathered showgirls and Roman centurions and maybe a guy in a gorilla costume. Like those are the big
always,
three.
Yeah, always guy in a gorilla costume. Yeah. So that's my, and again, I still give this 10 out of 10, but I just like, I wish there was a Roman centurion. Like, especially if it was like PeeWee, like narrowly missing them, and then a golf cart, like knocking down a centurion, like a 8x8 centurion, like bowling.
Or just do the 10 pin. They're in a pyramid. They're in a, in a triangle.
Yeah. Perfect. Works for me. Yeah.
But yeah, they they crash through like a Gidget style teen beach movie. And then the cops jump into the boat, which is obviously on wheels because it's a movie set, and they take two teens water skiing behind them.
Yep.
And then they go through the North Pole and they collect Santa Claus and his sled, and then they go through a Godzilla movie and collect Godzilla with Santa Claus.
Godzilla and Mothra, and then there's like a great little bit of physical comedy where the guy in the Godzilla suit is like spinning around to get oriented correctly in the seat, but he has to like do it in the right way so that the tail stays up on the back so that he can actually slide down and sit on his butt. And so he's doing sort of like a breakdancey move to get into the seat. It's clearly a more difficult stunt than you would think.
He's got gadgets on his bike, like smoke and water. Is it Twisted Sister?
Oil slick, I think. Yes, it is Twisted Sister.
Yeah, he crashes through a Twisted Sister music video, leaps over a house to the I think he gets to the outside world, right?
Yes. There's also a great Looney Tunes gag where he has a painting of the studio that he like pulls across and they all smash into.
Impresses some children when he does his big over the house jump, and then he sees a pet shop on fire, and so he pauses to run.
Oh wait, we also forgot on the studio lot he passes Tarzan and then does the Tarzan swing over a lake.
Oh, you're right.
On the bike, like holding the bike, swinging on the vine.
Now he's at the pet shop, and
yeah. Also, he has a button that when he launches to the real world, it is clearly the same bike button that is installed in Vin Diesel's bike in Triple X. Because there's a number of times in that movie that I remember howling with laughter. I haven't seen it in 20 years, but that like he would go off like, I don't know, the equivalent of like a recycling bin with a piece of plywood on it, and he would launch just like 40 feet in the air.
Well, Vin Diesel's also the size of a helicopter.
That's true.
As we remember correctly from the ride that I think got closed.
No, it's still open, baby.
I keep hearing rumors that it's closing and making way for something better.
I mean, allegedly, I'm certain that is on the plans, but it has not yet closed. But yeah, get to the pet shop. I'm sorry.
So he's running in and saving all the pets. He opens a dog's cage first to help him. And so he's like letting all the pets loose, and he keeps everyone back inside to get the turtles and then the fish and then the snakes.
I love that he keeps looking at the snakes and then is like, everything else first.
Yeah.
And he does a bunch more, and then he sees the snakes and he's like, bunch more stuff.
There's hamsters
like,
left. There's guinea pigs.
He rolls out with a, like, I don't know, 2-gallon fishbowl with about 80 goldfish in it.
But then he finally gets the snakes, and he comes out, and he's just got, as if like a toddler eating spaghetti, 2 fistfuls of snakes, and he comes out and screams and collapses and tells them there's more fish inside.
So we have the cops who want to arrest him and the firemen who are like, this man's a hero. He saved all these pets from this burning pet shop.
And so we cut to PeeWee in a like producer's office, a cigar chomping exec's office, in between a police officer and the fireman, and they're watching footage from his exploits. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know why that sounds weird to me. Escapades.
It's like footage of the chase.
Yeah,
it's footage of the chase.
And the guy's like, I want to make you a star, kid. This is going to be a great movie. And then he snaps his fingers, and Dottie comes out with PeeWee's bike from nowhere.
Yeah. It's very James and the Giant Peachy of like, and that is what you have just finished watching.
Yes.
Now we get to see the movie version of it, which is a hoot.
I love it. It's so Austin Powers.
Oh, for sure. I actually thought that this was... it's James Brolin, but I kept thinking, oh shit, I just forgot the name of the actor I was going to say. Damn it. He looks a lot like another actor, and I thought it was Kenny Rogers, and I was like, what a weird choice. And I was like, oh, no, that's James Brolin.
That's Barbara Streisand's husband.
He's got a very, Brolin has a very Kenny Rogers beard in this.
Yeah. It's P.W. Herman, the secret agent, and his Bond girl Dottie.
Mm-hmm. This is like teetering between Muppets and Brooksian stuff at the drive-in.
Yes, because he's going through, and all of the cast that we've seen in the whole movie is here at this drive-in to watch the premiere.
Yes, yeah, and he has like a snack for every other person. He's like, oh, here's your this and here's your that. You're handing him off.
I got you French fries, Simone.
And then when he finally gets back to his own watching area with Dottie, all she wanted was like a box of Mike and Ike's or something. And so he had like 3 trays full of shit, and then all he got there with is just the candy box. So I thought it was very funny.
And it's funny that they're just on their bikes. It's not like they're at a table with it. They're just sitting on their bicycles.
Yeah. And then we cut to the movie, and we see Pee-wee's cameo in the movie. And I love that he spikes the camera like 4 times. It's such a little detail. It's
because it's not a lot. It's just the glance.
Yeah,
it's just a quick glance down the barrel of the camera.
is very clearly like a don't look at the camera, don't look at the camera. Oh shit.
And then I think the joke is that the joke is supposed to be that they ADR'd his line, right?
They 100%, yeah. Like instead of it being like, it's like,
I mean, I assume it's just Paul Reubens' voice doing a different voice, but he's like, paging Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, you have a telephone call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that little cameo. But yeah, the whole movie feels very much like the Austin Powers movie within a movie.
Yes. And I also like that the one of the people watching the movie is the convict guy in a prison truck or prison bus who like leans out and Pee-wee's like, one hot dog, wink, and then the guy's like, hey, hang on a minute, and there's like
it's just a wrench
in the hot dog.
Or it's a file covered in mustard.
Yeah, he's like, nah, and he's like, I tried. It's like there's no repercussions for this. They're just like, you
movie star. Francis the bully is now pretending he's friends with Pee-wee and giving
Phil
interviews
Hartman
to the press.
Little cameo here as one of the police press.
Who is this?
Talking to him. Phil Hartman.
Oh, okay. Missed that.
You didn't catch him?
No, I missed it.
He's like the lead reporter on the left side of the frame. I think he's the one who asks Francis the question. He has like 2 lines maybe.
And Francis is like, well, I want to let's get a picture of me on your bike. And and Pee-wee and Dottie are like, that's not a good idea. And he's like, I'm going to do it. And then he gets ejector seated off the bike.
That's the end of our show. I do love that in the credits, it's Pee-wee as himself.
Well, yeah. It was like Elvira would played herself, I think.
No, it's good. I think it's great. I think it's very funny. This is a weird movie. I like some parts of it a lot. I think even at 90 minutes, this movie drags a little bit for me. It's still a recommend.
It's very sketchy. So if you don't like something, just wait a couple minutes and you'll get a new sketch.
Yeah, I think there's like 65 minutes of strong material. And in that 65 minutes, there's probably like 25 of like really strong material.
I would agree with that.
And then there's like, filler to get you the rest of the way there. But it's still like, a fairly fun watch. If you haven't revisited this in a while, I recommend it. Although I will say it is fucking nuts that this movie isn't streaming anywhere. It's crazy.
It was on Max for a while.
It's a Warner Brothers movie. Like, what the hell? It's so stupid.
I hate it.
And like, I know Netflix made like a more recent Pee-wee thing, so I don't understand why they don't have it if Warner doesn't. Like, it is available on the Internet Archive, multiple sources. Mm-hmm. Check, because the first one I found had a watermark the whole time.
That was so annoying.
But just like, did you watch the watermark one?
Because the other one wouldn't keep. It kept freezing on me.
Oh, the trick with the archives, you gotta download them.
Oh, I never download them.
If you right-click download, it'll usually be less than 10 minutes, and then you don't have those problems.
Oh, good to know.
Because they're embedded player stinks. But yeah, as often is the case, many of the movies we do in this show are available on the Internet Archive in dubious amounts of legality. But just bonkers. Like, put this movie on Max, you fucking assholes. Like, what the hell?
Fuck you, Zaslav.
It's just insane. Like, it cannot cost that much money to keep this movie on a store.
No way.
But yeah, I enjoy, like I said, and I feel like this is mostly true, is almost true of me and the Muppets too, where it's like I have so much goodwill toward the institution, but like with Pee-wee, like I probably watched Pee-wee's Playhouse. I would bet that I did, but I don't really have any memories of it. It's not like I'm gonna go revisit those. And so yeah, this movie I enjoyed quite a bit as a kid, and I had fun with this watch, but it definitely drags in parts, even at only 90 minutes.
I would agree.
Probably my favorite Burton movie, maybe. I keep saying that every time.
I would say it's my favorite, but it's a good one.
It's Beetlejuice. I don't know what I'm saying. It's Beetlejuice. But there's a lot of Burton touches in here that I find very enjoyable, and I'm not a big Burton guy.
Yeah.
I'm like a 4 out of 10 on Burton these days, I think.
I mean, I like his early stuff up until Sleepy Hollow. I like, and then I'm like, we can take it or leave it.
Yeah. I would agree with that. But yeah, this is a fun one. If you haven't checked it out in a while, pop it on. It's worth it. Worth a revisit. It mostly holds up, and like Andrew said,
definitely,
it's sketchy. So if you don't like a spot, just wait 5 minutes.
Yep,
it'll heal. Thank you so very much for listening. Please remember to rate and review the show if you haven't done that. We read those reviews on the air, so if you haven't done that, please do it. On Spotify, you just have to rate it. There's no review component there. Visit us on Blue Sky or on Facebook. We still have the Twitter, but we aren't really using it anymore. So feel free to say hello to us on those places. And like I said, we will keep rolling on with the new episodes. Next month is, of course, the annual Favorites-buary. Do you know what we're doing? This is your first.
Have we done Batman Returns? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm either going to do Batman Returns or Hocus Pocus. I haven't.
Okay. So is it Batman Returns unless we've done it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, let's say that.
Okay. So I think it's 90% sure we have not done Batman Returns, so it'll be Batman Returns. Perhaps our mother's least favorite movie?
It's up there. Or down there, I should say.
She really hates that one. I remember rewatching it a few years ago as like a offbeat Christmas movie and being like, I'm remembering how much Mom hated this as I watch it, which is very funny that's what my memory of this is.
Because it's so much darker than the first Batman.
Oh, it is. It's way weirder. It's way darker.
That's why I loved it.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep the Burton train rolling. Back-to-back Burtons. Thank you so very much for listening to the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Say hello to us on the socials. Watch Batman Returns to enjoy that with us in 2 weeks.
That one, I'm pretty sure, is on Max.
I hope so. Thank you again for listening. I have been Trip Leno.
I will always be Andrew Leno.
Until next time.
Don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production.